don't have time. I don't have time to worry about how it happened. It is what it is. We're genetically engineered to stop aging at 25. The trouble is, we live only one more year. Unless we can get more time. Time is now the currency. We earn it and spend it. The rich can live forever. And the rest of us? I just want to wake up with more time on my hand than hours in the day.
In this future society, people are no longer burdened by the effects of aging after they reach 25 years old. However, there's a catch: they're only granted one more year to live, and time has become the new currency. The wealthy elite reside in the Greenwich time zone, where they can afford to live for over a century. One day, a man from Greenwich ventures into the poorer area, where his 100-year time balance is seen by a local who attempts to steal it. Will Salas, a kind-hearted man, intervenes and saves him. However, the man reveals that he wants to die because he's tired of a system where someone has to die for others to live. Later, while Will is asleep, the man gives him his remaining time and walks off to his death. Will decides to share the time with his mother, but sadly, she dies due to inflation. In his desperation to seek justice, Will heads to Greenwich, where he meets Sylvia, whose father is behind the unfair system.
Talking about, man. You got a whole year. Not even I can use yet. Come on, Will. I've got bills to pay.
Here, take 5 minutes. Get out of here.
Will Salas is generous and easily gives 5 minutes to a young beggar girl, Maya. On the way to work he buys a coffee. The price has just gone up. Walking to work they see dead bodies in the streets. Will Salas works in a metal stamping plant, making shiny cassettes. After his shift he notices he is paid less. Quotas have gone up.
What is this? What's the best? Never mind, quarter. I used it off from last week. So it's quarter. Next. It's a joke, right? Next. Well, I'm not anymore. Oh my god. Give us a shot. Go now.
Later, at a bar, Will meets his friend Borel, and they spot a man flaunting over 116 years on his arm. The man does not belong in their ghetto and draws attention to himself, causing trouble with the Minutemen, a criminal gang that forcibly takes his time. Will interferes and helps the man, Henry Hamilton, escape. Henry tells Will about the time as currency system, which had been created to control the population after advances in anti-aging processes. However, the system also created a vast divide between the rich, who could live forever, and the poor, who died sooner. Will is angry and indignant, telling Henry that the rich do not deserve their time. After spending the night with Henry, Will wakes up to find that Henry has given him his time and left to die. When Will wakes up, he finds himself alone with a significant amount of time, 116 years to be precise, and a message that tells him not to squander it. From a window, Will spots Henry sitting on the edge of a bridge, indicating that he is considering suicide. Will immediately rushes out to stop him but is unable to reach him in time as Henry's time runs out and he falls into the storm water channel below. Will is aware that the street cameras are capturing his actions, so he hurries back home.
Will reunites with Burrell and his family, proudly showing off his newfound wealth of time.
Grateful for Burrell's friendship over the years, Will shares a generous gift of a decade with him. However, Burrell cautions Will about the dangers of living in Dayton with such a significant amount of time. Will remains determined to take his mother to New Greenwich, where they can live out their remaining years in comfort and luxury.
Rachel repays a short-term loan of 2 days at a Weiss ATM machine. When she attempts to take a bus home, she discovers that the fare has increased to 2 hours, and she only has 90 minutes left. In a state of panic, she must run to make it on time. Meanwhile, Will is waiting at the bus stop and senses that something is amiss. He runs towards Rachel, and they meet each other halfway. Unfortunately, they are too late, and Rachel dies in her son's arms. While going about their duties, the timekeepers, who wield similar powers to that of the police, come across Henry's lifeless body. The discovery triggers an immediate investigation into the circumstances surrounding his untimely demise. As part of the probe, Raymond Leon, a seasoned member of the timekeepers, takes note of the presence of street cameras in the area where Henry's body was found. He understands that the cameras may have captured valuable footage that could shed light on the events leading up to Henry's death. Raymond proceeds to obtain and meticulously examine the recorded footage to unravel the mystery of what happened to Henry. Will makes arrangements for a private stretch Lincoln limousine to pick him up and transport him to a more affluent time zone. During his journey, he passes through 4 toll booths, each with increasing fares, before arriving at the stunning, yet sparsely populated, city center of New Greenwich. After sprucing himself up, he heads to a high-end restaurant where he catches the eye of a young lady across the room. After discovering Henry's body, Raymond Leon reviews the footage from the street cameras and is taken aback when he comes across Will's photograph. His colleagues inquire if he recognizes the suspect or if he has a criminal history. Raymond clarifies that he is not familiar with the current Will Salas, but he did know his predecessor, the senior Will Salas. The timekeepers promptly initiate a search for the elusive Will Salas. After sprucing himself up, Will heads to an upscale restaurant, where he catches the attention of a young lady across the room. The observant waitress advises him to take it easy and blend in with the affluent crowd. She also recommends a nearby casino for him to check out. In the luxurious setting of the casino, Will dons a sleek tuxedo and encounters Philip Weiss, a man renowned for his immense wealth. As they engage in a high-stakes poker game, Will strategically goes all in and emerges victorious, now boasting an impressive lifespan of over 1,000 years. Philip is thoroughly impressed by Will's skill, as is Sylvia, his stunning but sheltered daughter whom Will had previously caught the eye of at the restaurant. Impressed by Will's charisma, Philip extends an invitation for him to attend another lavish party at his mansion, with the underlying hope that he will encounter Sylvia again. Will accepts the invitation and takes measures to ensure that he arrives in style, purchasing a Jaguar E-Type to drive to the opulent Weiss estate situated on the picturesque coastline. At the lavish party hosted by Philip Weiss, Will is reintroduced to Sylvia, who is accompanied by her mother Michelle and mother-in-law, all of whom appear to be of the same age due to their extreme wealth. Will observes that the women are constantly followed by guards, likely to ensure their safety and to protect their valuable lifespans. Philip's estate is opulent and extravagant, adorned with priceless works of art and luxurious furnishings that exude elegance and sophistication.
As the night wears on, Will begins to realize the extent of the differences between the wealthy and the impoverished in this world dictated by time.
I'm insane.
With a desire to break free from the constraints of her wealthy and controlled life, Will encourages Sylvia to let go and have fun. Despite her initial reservations, Sylvia is drawn in by Will's charismatic personality, and they both indulge in a moment of spontaneity by skinny dipping in the ocean. As they frolic in the waves, Sylvia confides in Will about her yearning to do something wild and unconventional. However, their peaceful moment is disrupted as Philip and his security detail arrive, searching for Sylvia. Will and Sylvia quickly dress and make themselves presentable, but their brief moment of freedom does not go unnoticed. The timekeepers suddenly appear on the scene, confronting Will about his supposed involvement with Sylvia and questioning his intentions.
It's alright, everyone. Let's stop. I'm sorry to bring a party, Celeste. I see you working for me.
Okay. Very well.
We'll arrange safe transport. This isn't Greenwich after all.
Sylvia, do as I say. Go.
So for God's sake, Father, there's an army in this house. If we can't stop one man from killing us, we should kill ourselves.
As a result of their disbelief in Will's story, Raymond decides to retract the 1,000 years in an arbitrary manner. Before departing, he drops a hint about having known Will's father. Meanwhile, Will combats and defeats the other timekeepers, abducts Sylvia, and escapes from the mansion. Despite the potential dangers, Raymond vows to pursue them and even assumes personal risks that his colleagues shun. Following a car chase, Will successfully evades Raymond's pursuit and retreats with Sylvia to the countryside. Despite Sylvia's pleas for release, Will's intentions remain unclear.
Guess we are gonna go after all.
Tell me about what I'm for. Give me some time.
What, you gonna kill me like you killed your fiancé?
Lend me an hour.
Yeah, what you said. I should have listened to you. Please take me home, please.
I can't do that.
Why?
You're keeping me alive. You got covered. Anybody says you're definitely dead.
Upon returning to Dayton, the car falls into a trap set up by the Minutemen. Will and Sylvia lose consciousness, and the Minutemen soon realize that Will's remaining time is minimal, rendering him worthless. However, Sylvia has approximately 10 years of time remaining, making her a valuable target. The men are forced to flee before they could take all of Sylvia's time. She is terrified because she has never had such little time left. Will reassures her, saying that ordinary people live their lives on a daily basis without worrying about their time running out.
Why are you laughing?
I'm dead.
Yeah, we're not alive for long either. Where's my time, though? I had a half hour.
You're lucky. Minutemen.
Is everybody get out of steel?
That's rich coming from you.
Please help me, Will.
Let me guess. How you like the idea of sharing? Don't worry, it's not the first time I've spoken.
It's first for me. What are we gonna do?
Whatever we have. Come on, I know.
He escorts her to search for Burrell, anticipating that he could offer them some assistance.
We're open up as well.
Regrettably, he discovers that Burrell had succumbed to alcoholism and passed away, leaving behind his spouse and newborn child.
Drank himself to death in 9 years on his conscience. Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry.
Will was able to extend the time they had by selling Sylvia's diamond earrings, but he realized that it wouldn't be sufficient. He contacted Philip and demanded a ransom of 1,000 years to secure Sylvia's release. Will specified that the payment should be made to the Time Welfare Office. While Raymond eavesdropped on the conversation, he cautioned Will against emulating his father's actions. Will discovered that his father's wrongdoing was not limited to time theft, but something more severe. Raymond, on the other hand, was able to determine Will's whereabouts and assured Weiss that he would safely bring Sylvia back. While at Will's apartment, he revealed that his father was an expert in arm wrestling and had a special technique to win time contests. Will proceeded to demonstrate the technique, which involved letting the opponent win at first. This would cause the opponent to become overconfident and lose focus just as the last few seconds approached. At that point, the arm could be flipped, and the time flow could be reversed.
It's nobody's fault. They're born with. You have a minute? Let's see how generous your father is now.
How do you think the shop will those buildings are giving away 1,000 years? No.
You go home. Shoot on the streets. And nothing spotted. What have you got?
On the following day, when the ransom remained unpaid, Will conveyed to Sylvia that it might have been due to the timekeeper's interference.
I'll watch from here on the shoes.
No.
However, Sylvia perceived it as evidence that her father didn't value her enough. Despite this, Will chose to release her and advised her to contact her family. Recognizing the dangers of living in the ghetto, he also provided her with a firearm for self-defense. As they parted ways after sharing a kiss, Sylvia prepared to make her call. In a state of panic, Sylvia mistakenly shoots Raymond. Will then pursues Raymond, hoping to obtain his time. However, Raymond only possesses a minimal amount of time, as timekeepers typically carry limited amounts to avoid being targeted. As Will had planned to commandeer Raymond's vehicle, Raymond generously transfers 4 hours of his own time to Will before he departs in the Black Challenger, leaving Raymond stranded in the dangerous ghetto.
I didn't shoot him, I wanted to scare him.
They did both.
Just say thank you.
Thank you. Where's my mouth? Where's your gun?
Sylvia becomes aware that using a police car would draw unwanted attention to themselves. As a result, they decide to rob another limousine and its passenger, a blonde woman dressed provocatively. To their surprise, they discover that both of them have been featured on a wanted poster, offering a reward of 10 years to anyone who apprehends them.
I want to assure you all there's no cost for alarm. No ransom is paid.
Your zones of risk, Philippe. If it's asset risk, they can spread. Too much time in the wrong hands can crash the market.
This hostage situation will be quickly resolved, sir. Everything's in control.
Philippe is examining a sizable world map featuring colored lights and numbers, and he reassures his business partners that his daughter would not destabilize the present economic system. Meanwhile, Raymond manages to flee from the ghetto while being verbally harassed and later meets Philippe. Weiss offers Raymond a bribe to rescue Philippe's daughter, but Raymond informs him that Sylvia's actions will result in an arrest warrant for her too.
But she is clearly
Furthermore, if Philippe tries to intervene and save his daughter, Raymond will have him arrested as well.
I wish you warned for your daughter's arrest. If she contacts you and your sister in any way, I wish you warned for your arrest.
There's nothing I can do.
How many years do you want? How many years? Even in your lifetime, twice.
Will trains Sylvia how to use a handgun. She offers to help him get time.
Why don't you shoot something?
Right.
Well, if you got a lot of time. You really.
Only ever had a game. How much do you need? You can live with yourself. I should go back next year.
You don't want. He doesn't want. Maybe I'll I need to borrow a month. What's the interest?
Today's rate, 30%.
Give me that.
You know, it's from Patreon.
Will and Sylvia drive an armored car through the window of a Weiss bank and collect multiple time cassettes. They encourage onlookers to grab as much as they can, while the large status board displays the inequality. This action gains them the support of the majority of people living in the ghetto.
Everyone's watching the clocks, huh? Get out of here. I'll confiscate every second. Let's go to with the drop through. Double. Don't have much. Everything I have I give away.
I know.
Yes, sir. I do know that. There are years that shouldn't be there. I will stop him, sir. Doesn't he understand? He's hurting the right people he's trying to help. Well, man. Look cool, man.
Yeah. Finally had time to buy one of these.
Just no draft, not correct?
Weiss watches the news report of the robbery as his wife chides him for suffocating them.
You're suffocating her. You're suffocating someone.
I forgot how to think of it. My place for
So, we're still there. How'd you know, sir? This is where the hours and days are. Just pay them all off. And this is where I'm at.
To secure privacy, they rent the entire seedy hotel.
Pay close on.
At a motel, Will and Sylvia grow closer to each other before sensing trouble and barely avoiding Ray and his team. Despite being alone, Ray relentlessly pursues them over rooftops in a fierce gunfight and refuses to let them escape. However, they are able to bribe a bus driver and successfully flee from the scene.
Tell me, look it up before we do it.
Sure about that?
Oh. Go.
I can't.
Go.
Unfucking
Hold on. Do you look familiar?
How about now?
Welcome to the century.
We're looking for a quiet place to stay.
How many rooms?
We're hoping for something long-term.
To secure privacy, they rent the entire seedy hotel.
I'm sorry, we're fully booked.
Nobody goes anywhere.
Fortis and his gang intimidate civilians until one confesses to seeing the two runaways. Inside the hotel room, the young couple recounts their experiences with the change that occurs at age 25 when the green numbers begin to count down.
Wait. Please. Please, guys, don't know where you are. Please. I believe you're next. I'm lost. Someone's acting reasonably. Just want to share the board. Oh, yeah, that's right. You okay with the board? 10 years.
That's a solid. He catches. There's no way we can lose this there.
You got this.
You've seen the map?
When?
No. Every day since I met you.
Forget I was gonna kill you times too.
Over and over again.
Fortis arrives at the hotel and informs Will and Sylvia that the oppression they faced is not just from the rich and timekeepers, but the Minutemen are also allowed to exploit the ordinary citizens. He explains that the Minutemen are a private security force employed by the wealthy to maintain order in the ghettos. The Minutemen were initially created to protect the wealthy from the poor, but they have been granted more power to also maintain order within the ghetto. Fortis goes on to explain that the wealthy want to keep the poor fighting amongst themselves, as this prevents them from rising up against their oppressors. Thus, the Minutemen are permitted to prey on the poor as long as they avoid targeting the wealthy. Fortis urges Will and Sylvia to join the resistance against the oppressive regime, and fight for a fairer and more equal society. Fortis challenges Will to an arm wrestling match, with the stipulation that the loser will die. As the two men lock arms, Will's time begins to count down rapidly. In a desperate move, Will uses a trick to reverse the time flow, allowing him to gain the upper hand and pull a gun from his boot. He manages to kill Fortis' henchman and let Fortis time out. Despite his victory, Will is still disheartened, realizing that changing the oppressive system will take an immense amount of time, possibly millions of years. However, Sylvia reveals that she knows where they could find enough time to make a real difference. Sylvia devises a plan to distract her father and his numerous guards by pretending to turn herself in. This distraction allows Will to sneak up on Philip and hold him at gunpoint. They force Philip to take them to his office where he opens a large vault, revealing a single cassette with 1 million years of time. Philip tries to justify his actions, arguing that it's always in an individual's interest to live forever, even if it means sacrificing others. However, Will and Sylvia remain unconvinced. They lock Philip in his office and make their way back to Dayton, armed with the valuable cassette. Their mission accomplished, they return to the ghetto determined to use the newfound time to fight against the oppressive regime and make a better life for themselves and their fellow citizens.
That's what you see. It's so strong. In a million years, you're definitely not in a hurry. It works. Okay, no. It's something used for years. One minute, get in mind. Reorder, fuel site. So we do use it. Outside. Lost a lot of time, Leon. It's like you're about out yourself.
As they continue their mission to fight against the oppressive regime, Will and Sylvia come up with a plan to keep the timekeepers distracted. With the timekeepers occupied, they manage to pass the 1 million cassette to Maya, a little girl who they believe can put the time to good use. Maya, who has been a symbol of hope and resilience for the oppressed people of the ghetto, is ecstatic at the prospect of using the time to improve the lives of those around her. With the help of Will and Sylvia, she begins to implement changes that provide better education, healthcare, and living conditions for the people of the ghetto. As the years go by, Maya's efforts pay off and the ghetto transforms into a thriving community with empowered citizens who refuse to be held down by the oppressive system. Will and Sylvia look on with pride as they see the positive impact of their actions, knowing that they have played a vital role in bringing about this change.
I can turn it back. I keep it running.
Raymond chases after Will and Sylvia to a secluded location en route to Livingstone, the neighboring town, as their time runs out. Will recognizes Raymond as a fellow Dayton resident and an honorable police officer fulfilling his duties. Unfortunately, the timekeeper who was supposed to collect his daily allowance forgets to do so and expires before their very eyes as he reaches the end of his allotted time.
You take mine. You can get there. I can't get there. You can? Yes.
As time rapidly dwindles, Will spots a police vehicle in the distance and sprints towards it. He is able to retrieve the per diem from the center console device and transfer it to himself just in the nick of time. He rushes back to Sylvia and successfully transfers a portion of the time, ultimately saving her life. However, they are left with only enough time to last for a single day.
Sorry, we saw.
It's already done.
These are live pictures from Dayton. Citizens have taken to the streets. There's so much stolen time in circulation. Factories in Dayton.
The residents of Dayton cease their work and begin a march towards New Greenwich. After observing the news, the timekeepers conclude that their roles are no longer necessary. As a result of a 100-year reward for their capture, Will and Sylvia arrive at a prominent institution and brandish their firearms, preparing for their most significant heist yet.
Told you there were bigger banks.
We almost missed your call.
Thank you for taking the time to check out my channel. If you've enjoyed the content so far and want to see more, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to receive alerts whenever I post new content. Thank you for your support.